So my story begins way back when I was really young because of Asperger's. Today, most people would say I don't have Asperger's. And the reason is that at some point in sixth grade, I read a book. It's a book called I'm Okay, You're Okay. The book itself isn't so important. But what it allowed me to do was to understand that I needed fixing, that there were parts of my life that didn't work, but that I could fix it. And that the could fix was the important part. Didn't know how, didn't know what the process was. And so the way I approached it was to take the edges of things. So rather than tackling the central problems, which a lot of the the major events, the gurus, the counseling and all that, they tackle the major events and work outward. I worked inward. So I looked at the little tiny reactions, that I was doing to events, and if they didn't match what I thought should be there, then I'd investigate that response. My method for that, and this I've used 4 or 5 different techniques. This was kind of the core one, and that was to um, kind of revisit, to think back to my history and look at look for the earliest event that kind of matched the feelings that I was feeling when so for example, if I was in a social situation, I remember one where I was meeting somebody for the first time, opened a door, and he was 6'6", and so he intimidated me, and that you know that kind of extra large person just caused me to shut down. I froze, um, and so I worked backward and found an incident that matched that, and then re-experienced that incident, knowing as an adult what I know, to be able to bring to that little kid. It was about five or yeah, probably about age 5, when the incident, I call it the fire incident, and it's not so much important what the incident is. Um, and there was a fireman that was standing over me, and I shut down, and it saved me. So it was a good thing at the time when I was 5 to freeze. But as an adult, that's not a good response. And that's a common thing when you look at, um, people's reaction to events. So I learned the process, and I won't say that it was easy. It did take me a while to kind of master it, where I would revisit those earlier situations and rebuild them. Well, after a while, you start nibbling at the edges of your psyche, your brain, and it starts to then you start to fix things. And once they were fixed, then they would stay fixed. I mean, that was one thing that was good. I didn't have continuing trauma once I got away from home. Um, and so what I did was effectively was to take one of the strengths of the Asperger's, which is the ability to see systems. Human beings are just very complex systems, and apply it to my weakness, which was the ability to not communicate with people, and not and freeze, and all these things. I mean, Asperger's has a lot of characteristics. Different people manifest those characteristics in different ways, so there's no one single pattern. Um, for my pattern, I had most of the characteristics. In the early life, you would have defined me as autistic. That's no longer true. I actually know how to speak now. Not always clear, but that's a different question. Um, and so I've taken those and worked through them. Um, and in the process, I'm a little different than a lot of people. As I worked through something, I didn't just work through it. I also understood and and recorded, or throw to memory the process by which I did it, so I could reuse the method over and over and over again. So, and then be able to describe that to other people. There's a lot more detail on how to do it than I'm going to go into here, but you get a basic feel for it. Um, so, over the years, I've done lots of different kinds of things. Never been satisfied with just where I was, so I'd keep trying new things. Um, my mom, who sometimes had good wisdom, described me as a turtle as opposed to the hare. Remember the tortoise and the hare race? So I was the tortoise. Um, Slow and steady. I just kept moving. I didn't stop. Nothing stopped me. But I didn't move very fast, but I kept at it. Part of what I've figured out over the years is methods and skills to help that process, which I do teach and bring part of the vision process and such, and they bring all together in underneath the banner of vision. But they're methods that that helped me come from not being able to communicate with people to being able to um, you know be able to help people and learn from the mistakes that I made to help other folks do better in their lives. And I try to help to help people in that way. Um, so I'm sitting out here on my porch today, enjoying the nice weather. Finally got some warmth here in Northeast Ohio, and can see the greenery in the background, and so I still have a residual of the Aspergers. I'm a very rule-driven person, so you pick up your toothbrush and do you get the which teeth do you hit first? Most people don't worry about that, but with Asperger's, I had to worry about that. So things had to be procedural, so I do this step first, and then this step, and then this step. And one of the rules that I introduced that helped me was the concept of randomness. And so one of my rules is things need to be random, and that's helped a lot. So if you do have Asperger's, feel free to contact me, um, and I can help you, adapt to life a little better. Um, but if you don't, that's which most people don't have Asperger's, then I can help you in other ways. Um, so anyway, so there's a little bit of my story. Hope that this helps to understand who I am a little bit. I'm still a very private person, so these recordings are challenged a little bit. Um, anyway, so have a fantastic day.